Hey, we're back. It's Jedbanger's Ball. With me today is Yasi Salek. She's a journalist, DJ. She runs Cultist zine with some other like-minded folks. Like we mentioned before in the first episode of the show, this is the second one. So what the show's about is it's about music, but it's about all aspects of music. It's not just about the love of music or playing in a band or whatever. We're talking to people that are behind the scenes, people that, show up and do the work that helps put on the show. So journalists, bloggers, photographers, music licensors, record labels, what have you. Anyone involved in music. And that's what we're here to talk about. As you'll hear in the show today, Yasi is not always a fan of my humor, which is fine. I don't have to be funny to everyone, but we had a good talk. And I got to know a lot about her that I normally wouldn't when she's texting me while watching Criminal Minds, or I'm sending her Bitmojis from work or whatever it is. So that's the question today. What's it like to write about music in a day and age when there aren't a lot of publications left, and the ones that don't really pay? So what do? Do you start a blog or try to publish your own magazine, or you go into marketing for a corporation and hopefully end up working with people or things that you like? I don't really know. I don't think we necessarily found the answer, other than you have to just do what, it seems everybody else is doing these days, which is work all the fucking time on as many projects as you can and hope that one of them sticks. And while, you do that, you have to have a straight job maybe. But I'll let Yasi explain that, and this is our talk with her. I love that the dog is here. So you're DJing tonight at The Smell.
Yes.
What's it for?
Is this part of the interview?
I don't know. We're just going right now. We're just recording.
It is this band No Parents, their tape release party. I believe it's called May the Thirst Be With You. And it's presented by Burger Records and Altamont, a skate company that happens to employ me. And it's going to be a good time.
What do you do for Altamont?
I'm not actually sure what my title is, but I run the blog and do all their music related stuff. So marketing partnerships, bands that want free clothes. I get to be the queen of deciding that.
But that seems kind of like that's a very now sort of situation to not know what your job is. You're sort of overseeing marketing, internet, writing, putting shows together.
Yeah, I think the now part of it is people being really cheap and being like, no, we're not going to hire other people. You're just going to do all of the things.
Right, you have a computer. So
yeah. You can do graphic design, right? Because we also need you to make the flyers. Can you press the records? Do you have a pressing plant at your house? You should do that too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Did you grow up here in LA?
In Torrance, which is not really LA, but kind of. It's a little bit south of LAX.
Right. But your parents are from Iran originally.
Yes.
Both of your parents?
Yes.
When did they move here?
In the 70s, after the revolution.
And what did your dad do when he got here?
My dad's an engineer, so a mechanical engineer. So he had gone to school here, got his master's at Cal Poly Pomona.
And you were born here, though?
I was born here in Cedars-Sinai Hospital in beautiful West Hollywood.
And so growing up with Iranian parents, and then how did you get into punk rock and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I grew up in Torrance, which there's really nothing there. I don't know if you've ever been there.
It's kind of like an industrial part of LA, right?
No, it's not even part of LA. It's its own city. It's the South Bay. It's there's actually a lot of punk bands that are from down there. Pennywise is from Hermosa. More current, Joyce Manor is from my hometown, Torrance. The Descendants are from around there. There's a lot of bands that were it's just a super skate punky scene down there. A lot of the skate companies are actually based there, like Girl and Chocolate and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't have any Persian friends growing up, and I was an angry, isolated, sad little girl who was I'm going to go. Actually, I know exactly how. I was obsessed with Nirvana because I was 11 years old when Nevermind came out, and that was the biggest deal of my life. And then I was also a total book nerd with no friends, and my dad would buy me used books at the bookstore, and I found this book called Route 666, The Road to Nirvana by Gina Arnold. who I think I wrote a letter to, actually, because it was just like a book chronicling all the like genres and bands that led up to allowing Nirvana to be such a big deal. And I would just save up my allowance money, and every week I would go to the record store and buy like The Replacements or like Husker Du or like whatever was in that, Fugazi, like. So I was listening to all these bands that like weren't currently active or none of my friends knew about just because of this book.
So when you got this book though, did you ever think like, oh, I could write about music? Was that?
I was always interested in writing. I didn't. Yeah, maybe. I mean, 11 is a long time ago because I'm 20 now, and so that's like, like 9 whole years. But no, I don't know. Yeah, it was like I thought this woman was so cool that wrote this book. She was like going to all these shows and interviewing these bands, and I was like, I want to do that. That's cool.
When I was a kid, my mom, because I didn't really read, and I still don't like to read that much. And my mom got me but I was interested in music, and I was interested in like heavy metal music, which is a long story. But my mom bought a book for me at the used bookstore, but it was like a Christian book about which heavy metal bands to avoid. But my mom, being like a 60s hippie, was just like, oh, if these are this list of bands that are in this book, this Christian bands, these are probably bands that you might like.
Yeah, so, no, it's a definitive please pick these up guide.
She was just being like encouraging and saying like, oh, well, you like Metallica and Megadeth. I found this book that's also about all these other Satan bands that you like.
Wow.
That you might like. So here's a book, and you can find out more about which records to buy based on this.
That is really cool, as opposed to my parents who were like, oh, after school, you're going to math class. You're going to more math class after school. It's a real thing. It's called Kumon. I had to go to math class after school.
Is it a Persian thing?
It's actually a Korean thing, but Persians and Koreans are really similar. And I was the only Persian kid or white kid in this class. It was all Koreans. So every day after school, I got dropped off at math class.
Well, I think that's just, I had friends in high school that were their parents were from Romania, and it was just very like, you come to a country, you have to like succeed, you can't, it's all about hard work, right?
Yeah, but don't you think that's like child abuse?
You're
done with school. It's 3 p.m. You're like, yes, I'm free. And they're like, nope, you're going to go study some more math.
Well, the brother, I was friends with the girl, and the brother, he was valedictorian of his high school, but his father had pushed him so hard to like do well in school the entire time that as soon as he graduated as valedictorian of his high school, he married this girl and ran away from home and never spoke to them again.
Wow. That's sad.
Yeah. Well, so
it's kind of a sad story. Now I don't feel great.
So bringing it back, so you start reading about music originally.
Yeah.
You get into Nirvana, you're into the whole grunge thing and stuff.
Yeah.
How much longer does it take before you think like, oh, I want to start doing this. I want to go to shows. I want to cover these shows. I want to maybe put out a zine or what? Did you have a zine?
I did have a zine, but I don't think anyone read it because, again, I didn't have any friends. So this was a lot of just, like, me writing, like, bad poetry and, like, stuff like that and, like, Xeroxing it and putting it into a thing with – I don't even draw or anything. But, no, I wrote for my, like, 8th grade, like, school paper about music. But it was, like, very much, like, going on – this was, like, the very early days of the internet. So it was, like – going in the school library, booting up the like Rolling Stone, I don't even know how we would, AOL. It was like the AOL music homepage, and then just repackaging and repurposing like their news bits into like my like what's happening in music column, because I was a huge dork. And again, I had no friends.
And where were you going? Like, where were you going to shows in Southern California?
I wasn't. I was 13 years old. My parents made me go to math class after school. Do you think they were letting me go to shows?
When did you start going to shows then?
It took a long time because actually I started going to shows when I was 14, but it was like,
That's like 1 year after the math class thing.
I know, but I didn't get to go to that. Like, for example, like I would go to like house parties with some punk bands. Like they usually played we don't have venues in Torrance. I mean, maybe there's one. I was obsessed with Blink-182. There's no shame in that. Mm-hmm. That was a big deal for me. And at the time, they were still really small, so I saw them play a couple times in like clubs in like Huntington Beach or whatever. But then I moved to Singapore when I was like the end of my freshman year of high school. There's no clubs, there's no punk scene, there's no shows there.
What was that about it? I had no idea.
Oh, really? I'm pretty sure I've told you several times.
No, I think through all of our texts, when I say, "What are you doing?" and you say, "I'm lying alone in bed with a cat vaping."
2 cats.
I don't think you ever mentioned Singapore.
No. Yeah. Well, what are you doing is a current question. Yeah, my parents, my dad got a promotion in his job, and it involved him, going to Southeast Asia, and so he was like, "You guys have to come too."
In Singapore, Bali, Indonesia? No, Singapore is different. What city did you move to?
Singapore is a city-state. It's just Singapore.
Of Indonesia?
No, it's just Singapore. It's a
Okay.
country and a city and a state.
But they cane you there for spitting on the
They
ground.
didn't cane me personally, but they do employ caning
How long were you there for?
till the end of high school.
And did you make friends over there? What was it like?
I mean, yeah, like in the way you make friends because like you have to survive in the wilderness, you can't just be alone forever. I don't know, it was a private school. Everyone was from different places. It was an American school.
Everyone spoke English.
Yeah, the whole country speaks English because it was a British colony. But yeah, I don't know. I would listen to my angry punk tapes in my Walkman, and it was 95 degrees every day of the year with like 100% humidity, and my hair looked really bad. And I just bided my time until I could come back to America.
And so you come back and you move to LA, or you go back to Torrance?
No, I went to school. I went to Santa Barbara.
Oh, you
It's
went to college
time.
at UCSB.
Yeah.
Banana slugs.
Yeah. So then here comes like an
Or no, that's Santa Cruz.
No, yeah, it was Gauchos.
Gaucho.
Yeah.
You come up to the table, and if I put the card up, you give me more meat. That's the mascot of the school.
Is that what a gaucho is?
I don't know. I think so. At those like Brazilian steakhouse restaurants.
I thought a gaucho was
it's
like
a cowboy. It's a Brazilian cowboy. It's a Brazilian cowboy.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't like super into school spirit or anything.
Gotcha. So you go to UCSB.
Yeah.
Are you writing then?
I was, yeah. I got my first like published writing thing happened to me when I was in Santa Barbara. I interned at the Santa Barbara Independent newspaper, and they didn't let me write about music at first. The first thing I wrote was a movie review of a movie called Down with Love. It was a Renee Zellweger, Ewan McGregor romantic comedy. I gave it a bad review because I didn't care for it, and I got a piece of hate mail from
Ewan McGregor?
No, from an elderly gentleman that lived in nearby Goleta, and he said, he was like, I kept it for a long time. He was like, this woman clearly is bitter and resentful, and she has no idea what love is. And I was like, that might be a true fact, sir, but that does not make this movie any better.
Did you
No, I didn't get to respond. That was just like what I thought to myself. They
Right.
don't allow you to respond to hate mail in the
Did
Independent
they print
Weekly.
his letter that he wrote to you?
Yeah, they printed it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I know. Why didn't I quit forever then? I should have. What an idiot.
So then you're writing in college. You come back to LA.
Yeah. Yeah, I moved to San Francisco
You moved to San Francisco.
after, yeah.
I have no idea. You've been all over the place.
Yeah, I was a restless person.
What were you doing in San Francisco?
Here's the time of my life that I was a little interested in underground hip hop, like a little more than a little interested in underground hip hop. And so I was trying to write. I like applied to like every internship possible, like the San Francisco Bay Guardian, the SF Weekly, the Oakland, whatever their version of the weekly is.
What year was this?
This is 2003.
Ooh, you should have contacted me back then because I knew all the writers at all those papers because I was a publicist.
Yeah, I wouldn't have met you for like 10 or 11 more years. So I don't.
I know, if only though.
No, the only like semi-famous person that I like peripherally knew from back in my college days was Mr. Steve Aoki, because I worked at the only record store in Santa Barbara. It was actually very cool. Morning Glory Music.
I knew Steve Aoki at that same time as well. Because
Yeah, when he had that show, that house, Biko House. Was it called Biko House?
I don't know. I used to trade records with him from Sub Pop to Dimac and back and forth.
He had a house that had shows in Santa Barbara, and he would come into the record store I worked at every day and like, buy stuff or whatever, and I would just sit behind the counter sullen and not talk to him because I didn't talk to anybody.
So where are you living in San Francisco then?
In the Lower Haight, right behind the Safeway on Market.
Okay. And so did you have a job, or were you just trying to find work?
Yeah, I was a waitress at a sports bar in the Soma district called Eddie Rickenbacher's. I lived in a house on Fillmore and Fell next to a crack house, like an abandoned crack hotel, with 4 dudes from upstate New York who were all like super fratty, and like it was a Craigslist situation. They hated me. At first, I lived with my best friend who moved up there with me in one room, a 6-foot by 8-foot room. We slept in the same bed and both worked at Eddie Rickenbacher's. The owner hated me because whenever I wouldn't straighten my hair, because my hair is really curly, I'd come in and he'd be like, "You didn't brush your hair. You look unkempt. You need to leave." I'd be like, "No, my hair is just curly." It was a hard time. No, I was interning. I got an internship at Accelerator.
Oh, yeah. I remember
And
that.
also ABB Records, which is an underground hip-hop label in Oakland.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So then you start working there, and it's going well.
Yeah, I got hired at ABB Records, for 3 months I was an intern, and then I was the head of sales, because it was a very small label.
What I'm working up to is, when did you figure out that I'm going to do freelance writing, basically?
Yeah, Jed, here's the thing. The narrative is not that easy. That's not how it works in life. I wish it was. Yeah, I wish I just, came out of college and they were like, "Here you go, you're working at Rolling Stone. Now you're going on tour with this band, just like in Almost Famous." Nope. I had to shift gears many times.
Right.
I've had a million jobs. I worked for an autograph dealer who had a stolen Oscar that I had to sell.
Whose Oscar was it?
Judy Garland's. I worked at a deli where I had to slice meat. I worked at a sneakerhead sneaker store in New York, which I also kept all my stuff in their basement because I was homeless at the time. It takes a long time to make it in this field.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm sort of getting at is how do you sort of survive doing freelance writing?
Like that, you do every possible job you can. I mean, even I remember I moved to New York after that. Actually, okay, here I'll tell you. While I was at ABB, I got my first actual music writing thing, which was with Vapors magazine, may it rest in peace, a graffiti and street culture magazine out of Sacramento, which we advertised in or had some relationship with, and so they started letting me write for them. And they were really cool. They let me do whatever I wanted. I remember my first piece for them was with that rapper Jean Grey.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to do a phoner. I didn't know how to do a phoner. I don't know how to record this. I'd never done it. And so I had my tape player next to the whatever speaker phone, and it malfunctioned, so I couldn't even record the interview. So I just had her play MASH with me. And that was I
like that weird game where you...
Yeah, it's not like origami like you're doing with your hands. We're on radio.
No, where you do the thing where you go back and forth.
No, it's not that one. It's just it's on paper though, but that's what I submitted as my piece. Anyway, so they were great. I ended up becoming their music editor. That still only paid $200 a month, so... Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when I had a similar thing where I really wanted... I was doing publicity, but I really wanted to be the college radio guy at Sub Pop, but I didn't go to college, so I didn't really know anything about radio either.
Right.
I had done a radio show when I was in high school at the Tritech, which was the what do you call it? The craft college. What do you call that?
A craft college?
Not a craft
you make
college.
macaroni necklaces and stuff?
not a trade school is what I meant.
Yeah, totally
not
different.
A craft college.
The kind that's for welding and stuff?
Yeah, but they had a radio station there too in the small town that I lived in, and I had a little radio show there where I played, and I used to play those carts, which are basically 8 tracks or whatever, and the rule there was you were only allowed to play alternative music,
Right?
Only alternative.
So these aspiring welders and ITT technician people were really into alt music.
Well, no, the thing about it was that they didn't really define what alternative music was.
Okay.
I played a Alice Cooper song one time, and they got really upset because it wasn't considered alternative.
Too mainstream. Alice Cooper.
Exactly. So, anyways, fast forward, I'm applying for the college radio position, and I was sitting down with my bosses, and because I was already working there, and they said, "Well, can you do you know what an ad is?" And I was like, an advertisement?
An advertisement?
And they were like, no, it's when the song gets added to the playlist on a college radio station. And I had no idea, so I didn't get the job.
So being the college radio guy, you meant that you were the one that would deal with pushing it onto college radio DJs.
Exactly. I'd be the
liaison.
Liaison between the record label and the college radio people. Which, I mean, you actually, the way it works, and it's the same with mainstream radio, is you actually have to hire out a company, a third-party company that then greases the wheels with college radio.
Yeah, and actually a lot of places have in-house people, though.
Yeah.
I used to work with them. We had one at ABB Records that I used to work at, Underground Hip Hop.
Underground Hip Hop. So you're making $200 a month.
Yep.
You're in New York or San Francisco at this point?
I had moved to New York, so I had quit the record label, but I had kept my music editor position.
And you're living in Brooklyn? Where are you living?
I moved to Williamsburg at first because that's where you move when you move to New York.
Right.
And you're a hipster and, you want to make it big. You want to chase your
You
dreams.
don't move there anymore. Now you move to like
Well, no, yeah, now you certainly can.
Bed-Stuy.
Yeah, I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment that was on South 4th and Roebling, which is now really fancy, but back then was not really fancy. And the window was broken in my room, so snow would come into my room every night during the winter, and the landlord would not talk to me or come fix it, so I had to sleep on the couch for the entire winter. But I was working at the time.
So then how long does it take before you go from there to starting Cultist?
I started Cultist maybe 3 years after I moved to New York, after I moved back to LA, as an online store.
Selling what?
Women's streetwear.
Women's streetwear.
Yeah.
Like a tracksuits?
No, like streetwear in the like streetwear sense, like.
Can you explain what that is to me? I don't know what streetwear is.
Back in the early 2000s,
I wear Wranglers, so
there was a proliferation. Is that the right word? Proliferation. I'm a writer. Of all of these independent brands that made kind of a mix between like skate and urban wear. I don't know. Like.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Supreme was the first one, I guess, but like the Hundreds and Mishka and all these brands. Those were streetwear brands.
Got it. So you're selling like their brands on your site, like you're like a distribution sort of thing, or
I was a store. I stocked their stuff.
Gotcha. And it was just you at the time, or did you have partners?
I worked with this girl, and then it didn't work out between us. And then it was just me for a while, and then I hired someone for a while, and then I was just over it because who the fuck wants to run an online store? It's the worst idea in the world. It's so boring and uncreative, and I mean, no offense to all you people that run online stores, but for me, I was like, so I'm sorry, did I sign up to just sell T-shirts? Is that what I'm doing? I'm a Garmento?
It's like having a store, but you're just never there.
Yeah, you don't get to interact with anyone if you're doing the cool parts. So then I canned it, and I'd gotten my master's degree during this time.
From where?
USC.
Oh, wow. You were doing like a satellite course, or you came out back
No, I moved back to LA.
Oh, you moved back to LA when you started the store.
Yeah.
And then so you decided the store is not what you want to do, and you were able to transition it into
I was
a magazine.
still writing the whole time, though.
Right.
Like I wrote for whoever was. When I lived in New York, I had worked 5 or 6 days a week, and my one day that I wasn't working, I interned at Complex, and I wrote for magazines like Mass Appeal, which I think just came back, and Misbehave, which was like a women's urban-ish lifestyle magazine. May it rest in peace. Like I was always writing for anyone that I wrote for Inked. Like whoever would let me write for them, I would write for them.
Tattoo magazine.
Yeah. I interviewed Belladonna.
Wow, the porn star.
Yeah, it was great.
I used to work at Hustler.
Really?
So you get a master's degree at USC, and then when do you decide that you're going to turn Cultist into a online magazine, basically?
I don't know. Maybe like shortly after I got my master's, probably. Because I kind of kept it while I had my master's because I was studying business, so it was a kind of a cool, case study that I had for my own self while I was studying business. And then when it was over, I was just kind of over all of it. So then I was like, I guess I was trying to write all the time, and I would pitch people stuff. And Vapors was now defunct, and I had really gotten used to being able to write really like quirky, weird shit, like with bands and musicians that, had a lot of personality, but was really abnormal, like playing MASH, or like I went on like a date with Jim Jones, like things that weren't. And nobody else would let me do that. Like,
Sure.
Everyone was really traditional, and like I would pitch and just be denied. And so I got really frustrated. So I was like, well, I'll just fucking make my own stupid website, and I'll want to write about whatever I want. So that's what I did.
And so that was another question I kind of had for you. It's like, have you ever like had to interview bands that you didn't like as people, or you didn't like the music, or have you always kind of tried to do it like with this ideal of like, I'm going to write about what I like? With
Cultist, I never write about anything I don't like.
Right, because it's your own thing.
Yeah, it was kind of the point. I was like, well, this is a fanzine ultimately. Like, I have no interest in reading someone be negative. Like, that whole like world to me is so foreign because it's not 1986. Like, people aren't saving up money to go buy an album at Sam Goody where they can never hear any of it before. And so some like high and mighty music critic needs to tell you if it's good or not. Like, nope, you have ears. Go fire up the Spotify. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Like, I don't need a review to tell me that something's bad. The whole thing is like really foreign to me.
So what do you think, though, then, that the writing about bands and the journalism of music, what kind of effect do you think it has on music or bands these days? Does it help them? Does it hurt them? Does it do anything?
I think it helps them because I think, we live in a time where like personalities are the number one commodity. Like, there's people that are fucking famous from just having an Instagram account, like because they're a personality, you know all this stuff about them. So for bands, I think if they're able to do press in a way that like makes them more accessible to fans, like their fans are going to be really into that. And like, that's how you see bands that like, you and I might think are pretty mediocre or like whatever, but they have huge fan bases because there's something about their whole package that really appeals to people.
They're able to sort of build it on their own, and they have a little bit more control of like when stuff goes out, or if they want to, they can put stuff out constantly.
Totally.
Yeah. So I was wondering, so do you think though then there is like a cohesive scene of like underground bands and journalism, or is it all just so spread out and crazy and everybody's kind of doing their own things right now that it's not?
It's just,
there used to be like kind of this like real scene of like zine culture, and then there was like, the punk culture, there was, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think we really have that as much anymore because it's like for example, major labels aren't signing as many people as they used to. Like, the divide between who's a major label pop star and who's like a successful indie musician is not that big. And like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, there's gonna be like 4 Taylor Swifts and Katy Perrys or whatever, and there's gonna be 1 million varying degrees of indie band.
right.
And then so the scene is like massive. It's not. I mean, think about Pitchfork. Like, that's an indie music blog.
And they write about Kanye West and things like that.
And they're like up there as one of the biggest music publications, and they're like, I think the divide is much smaller now.
But you guys are able at Cultist. So who else runs the site with you?
I run it, and we're using this term very loosely. It's a blog that I update like whenever I feel like, and sometimes 3 weeks will go by and we don't update it. But my friend Jane Halpern also contributes a lot of stuff. She's more of a lifestyle writer. And then we like, I really like having submissions from actual musicians. Mm-hmm. So we have like random people write stuff. Like for a while, Ty was doing something like, we have people contribute. Ty Siegel.
So, and then you guys just celebrated though the 3rd anniversary of it.
Yeah, for 3 years I had a blog. It's crazy.
Is that a long?
Is that impressive?
Is that a long blog?
No, I don't think so. I think it's pretty easy. I don't think there was any cause for celebration.
Well, I think the hard thing about doing a blog or anything like that these days is that it's just keeping motivated to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely
because you're not getting that immediate feedback. I mean, you're like looking at little likes and things like that, or like seeing people share stuff, but like, you're not like out at like an event, selling your magazine, or you know what I mean? Like,
right. Well, I would argue that we actually have way more immediate feedback than like a magazine or something like a print publication.
Right. I guess you do, because you see like how many hits it gets, or
you see how many hits it gets. You see like engagement on social media, and like it's pretty easy to see if people are reading it or not.
And you've turned it into it's a forum for you as well to write, because you write a lot about like feminism and things like that on there as well, and that's kind of a slant on it as opposed to like Vice or something else, or Pitchfork or something like that. It has like a personality, or your personality in there as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, for better or for worse. That's just what happens when it's like one person spearheading a blog. And
do you ever have like crazy feedback from people that are writing you directly complaining about stuff, or upset by things? Or? I
don't get many complaints. It depends. Like, one time I wrote this rant, which I don't often write negative things, but I had seen this piece on MTV, one of MTV's like satellite sites. This guy wrote this piece that was like, how to pick up chicks at a metal show. And it was just like really offensive. It was like basically insinuating like women don't know about heavy metal. They just saw like a video on YouTube of fucking, Cannibal Corpse, and now they're really into this scene and this. But like my roommate Heather Fortune and I were reading it, and the guy had actually gotten factual information about heavy metal wrong in his own article. Like he clearly wasn't a heavy metal dude himself. He was just like a comedy guy trying to be funny.
Right.
It just really pissed us off. So I wrote kind of a rant about it. And I got so many hate comments because it got picked up by a bunch of metal blogs that were just being like, this is cool. And then there's just like crazy Hesher dudes coming at me being like, fuck you, like, you're fucking stupid, bitch. It's kind of funny.
So you live with Heather from
Wax
Idols.
Yeah.
She used to play in White Lung, but she doesn't anymore.
No, because Wax Idols is her like main thing.
Right. And then you lived with Mish from
White Lung. I did. She just moved out a couple months ago. She got married. Congratulations, Mish.
Jennifer from Bleach.
I did formerly. She doesn't live there anymore. Yeah, we have a bit of a rock house, I guess.
You have this like house of women rockers.
Yeah, the house of women rockers.
That's
exactly.
cool though. And so, are you still doing? I mean, what's next then with the Cultist stuff? Are you guys? Do you have any plans for this year? Like, is there bands that you're like want to interview? Is there somebody that you would love to get on there, or is it just kind of like spur of the moment? You think of it like
yeah, it's super spur of the moment. Like if I'm at a festival, I'll just grab somebody and be like, "This is interesting." I mean, we've had some like big things that I was really excited about, like Lou Barlow and stuff like that. Which I was the only one excited about that. And
but that's the point, though, is like
yeah.
even if you're the only person excited about it, you can still do it, right?
Totally. And then I guess Jane, and this is not super music related, but it'll have a music component.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay. Jane Halpern and my other friend Jane Min and I are starting a print magazine called Crying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called Crying Magazine, and it's a
collection of your tweets.
It's just me crying on every page. No, it's a literary-ish magazine. It's gonna be like half like fiction and essays and stuff, and then half like photos and art. Our tagline was gonna be "We've got issues," but then I was at the book fair and I saw somebody else has that tagline, which was like really a bummer. So it's gonna be something like that, like lots of issues. We have tons of issues. I don't know.
I wanted to make a Volkswagen Bug, like one of the new ones that looked like the Pikachu from Pokemon, but then I saw someone in Japan had already done that.
It's really a bummer when someone already has your idea.
It sucked.
But yeah, so I'm really excited about that because it'll be nice to do something a bit more serious. Because Cultist is really fun, but it's really tongue-in-cheek and jokey, and which I like. But
how about girls just want to have fun?
That's terrible.
Okay. Are there any writers that you want to like work with? Are there people that you look up to or that inspire you as a writer that you would like want to have like write for the magazine?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, of course, but I mean, we don't pay any money, so this would just be like dream stuff. Who do I love?
Well, who were the writers that were influencing you when you were first starting out? You know.
Well, I mean, that book by Gina Arnold like really like did a number on me. There is a woman. Oh my God, her name is eluding me right now. She used to be the editor of the Hairpin. You know who I'm talking about? She is brilliant. She wrote this piece called Winter Boyfriend, which is forever one of my favorite pieces of writing ever. It's basically like she saw a magazine that said how to land a winter boyfriend, and she was like, "What is a winter boyfriend? I don't know, but I want one. What is your winter boyfriend's name? Jeb. Where does he live? Under the bed." Like, it was like, how tall is he? 3 feet. Like, she was just making up this narrative of what a winter boyfriend is. It was just super funny. I like Haley Mlotek. I think I pronounced that right. She's now the editor of the Hairpin. I don't know. There's so many.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's so many bands. There's so many musicians.
Yeah, I mean, for like serious music writers, like, I mean, John Caramanica is like one of the best in the world. I could never write like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. Well,
worst. Sorry.
No, that's great. Do you want to play a game? Because I know that you are DJing tonight.
Yeah.
And you have to get down to your DJ gig.
Yeah, my DJ gig.
That's what we call it in the business.
my disc jockey gig that I have later.
Your DJ gig. So, do you want to play band names?
I don't know this game.
Band names is a game that I invented, sort of, where I hand you a cue card, and you will read the name of the band, and then you're going to tell me whether you think this is a real band or a fake band, and then we can discuss.
This feels like very Jimmy Fallon, but okay, let's do it.
It feels very Jimmy Fallon.
Wasn't it Jimmy? Or was the other one that did that? It wasn't Jimmy Fallon. The other Jimmy. He did that at Coachella. Remember they went around telling them like bands that were playing, and they were like, "That's not a real band."
Oh, but he does that all the time. You're talking about Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel, yeah.
He does that all the time where he just like, he did a thing recently where he ground up a bunch of Skittles and told someone that it was organic juice at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, he was just like, oh my God, this juice is amazing. I would drink this like every day. Like, you know, and it was just like Skittles, basically.
That was a really good voice. Are you an actor?
No. So we're going to play band names now.
Okay.
I'm going to hand you a card. And since you're a DJ and a music journalist, this should be very easy for you.
I'm going to get everyone wrong.
No, okay, here we go. Let's just go for it.
Okay. Lumpy and the Dumpers. I mean, are they signed to Burger Records? I really have no idea. It sounds like a fake band name to me.
It's a real band name.
Great.
I believe they're from St. Louis, Missouri.
Current band.
Actually, quite great. You'd like them.
Oh, good.
And they are signed. Well, I don't think they're signed to anyone, but there's a label out of Florida called Total Punk.
Oh, okay.
And they put out their 7 inches.
All right. My bad, Lumpy and the Dumpers. I'll check you out.
Sorry about that. Here's the next one.
Paralyzing Gaze. Man, this is tough. This is really hard. Because it's like, is my friend Black Chris in this band? Did he invent this band?
Right. Well, here's the thing about it. So if it's gays spelled Gays,
Yeah.
but it could be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
It could be
Gays. Yeah, you couldn't see that on the card because you're on the radio.
But it could be Gaze.
No, I got it.
You get it?
I get the double entendre.
Right, but when I'm saying if it's like a queercore band,
right,
it's okay.
Right, but if it's
not,
yeah,
then we have a problem.
I'm gonna say real.
That's fake.
Damn.
Sorry about that.
I wish it was real. Someone should start that band.
I don't know why.
Black Chris.
You know what? I need to queue up my my notes on the band names here. But here we got one more for you. Well, we have plenty more, but this is just another one real quick.
Sick Thong.
Sick Thong.
Wasn't that our band name?
No, I thought our band name. Wait, our band name was something to do with cats, but then I said I was more of a dog person.
Cat Spit.
Cat Spit, and then I told you about Cat Butt.
Cat Butt, yeah.
Which that'll be on another show as a real or fake band name.
Sick Thong. I'm gonna say yes. Real.
Sick Thong is fake.
Oh, God, I suck at this game.
Yeah, you haven't got any of them right.
I really like that name though. I'm surprised no one's taken it.
Yeah, that's what's great about this show is because on the last show that name actually came from Lance from Permanent. In the last show we had Lance and Liz from Permanent Records on, and we had one of the band names was Cosby Drugs, and they got it right immediately because they were like, "That's too soon. No band could get that." But there's going to be a band
named Cosby Drugs.
I hope so.
Sure.
All right, here's another one.
I hate this game. Giorgio Murderer. That's so good. Please tell me it's real.
That's a real band.
Yes.
That's our friend
really
John
good.
Henry in New Orleans. That's his band.
Oh my God, it's so good. Giorgio Murderer.
He also plays in Buck Biloxi and the Fucks.
Wow.
Which I don't want to give away too many band names because I'm going to run out of material.
I need to hear this band. You know, Giorgio Moroder's actual son works at Huff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we can send him the
What's
music.
his name?
Alessandro, I believe.
Alessandro Morodo.
Yeah.
Moroder.
Murder.
Alessandro Murderer. All right, here we're keep. See, the problem with this.
Is this going to be a long game because I have to go?
No, you have time. You have 20 minutes.
Do I?
Yeah, you.
It seems like I should.
Most people really like this game.
Do they? That's good. That's interesting. You've only had 2 guests, so I don't really know what your sample is that you're pulling from of people that like this.
A lot of people like this game. The problem with this game, though, is sometimes it's kind of like when you're trying to name pornos or whatever. Like, it just gets kind of gross, and then I don't know why, but it just has to. So here's another one for
It
you.
gets gross because you made these up. I don't know how you're acting like it's like so like a thing that just happens. You wrote these. You made it gross.
Just read what's on the card.
Come face disgrace. I say no because it's too rhymey. It sounds like a porn musical.
You're saying that's fake?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fake. Right?
Okay, good.
I think I read it on the internet.
Well, I can tell that you made that up, so.
Okay, moving on. We're keeping it clean here.
Okay. Rectal hygienics.
I like that you're good at reading these. Some people aren't so good at reading them.
At reading words out loud.
Exactly.
Well, I am a trained writer, so would hope that I could read I mean, your handwriting is atrocious, but.
I'm a doctor.
Rectal hygienics. Man, I don't know. Yes, it's a real band.
It is real. They're from Chicago.
Great.
They have a record coming out on Permanent Records. I'm also
It's also really not fair that you played with people that own a record store. Yeah, they probably know a little bit more about what bands.
No, they
are
were
there.
terrible.
Oh.
Lance was good.
I mean, I picked up the Taylor Swift album on the way over here, so just
And
to let
Third
you
Eye
know,
Blind.
and Third Eye Blind.
Yeah.
Where I'm at in life.
Yeah, it's a shit sandwich. Okay, here we go. This one's cute.
Jim and the Rats.
Spelled, how's it spelled?
Spelled like gym, like where you go work out. You made this up because you thought it was cute. Like, you were too proud of it. It's not a real band.
I know, you've been following me on Twitter. All right. Here's another one.
It's also terrible.
It's terrible.
White Boy. That's probably real.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's like a 77 punk band from Washington, D.C., and it was a father-son duo,
Whoa.
which is kind of creepy, right?
Yeah. You know who would be really good at this game is Black Chris. He knows everything.
I'd love to have Black Chris on here.
You definitely have to.
He would be great. He'd be so fucked up, though.
I mean,
But it'd be awesome.
redundant.
That reminds me, are you still doing the Blendertown stuff with him?
Shannon does that.
Oh.
And Cornette.
I know, but you do it.
I mean, I just do, we do stuff together with Cultist, but that's
You
Shannon's
guys
thing.
work together to
Yeah.
promote shows.
Yeah, we're doing a show at South by, which will be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving on.
Okay. Nun Slaughter. I say real.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's like a hardcore Cleveland band. All right. Here you go.
White Swallow. That's real. It's like some like lame emo band or something.
It is. It's like I think I saw their MySpace.
Yeah. Listen, Jed, can I give you a piece of advice?
Yeah.
This segment of the show is too long.
All right.
You've lost everybody that was listening. No one's listening anymore.
one's listening.
I'm
We're
bored
on
and
the-
I'm physically here. Your dog fell asleep. Like, this is the worst.
He was tired. I took him for a long walk. He was tired.
You have like 20 more index cards in your hand. This is so bad.
The last time we played the game, I wanted to end it because I felt like it was too long. But we're gonna wrap it up. Okay, I have 3 more.
Okay.
It's like when we played live. Okay, we're gonna play 3 more, and then these are gonna be for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. This one's cute.
Seafood.
Seafood.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real. They're British.
Yeah.
What's seafood? We're gonna play some songs.
You're the only person that likes this game. I'm guaranteeing you. Am I wrong? This game is so boring.
I love this game. You have
Okay.
2 more.
The View. That's a television program.
Correct. Is it a band or is it just a television program? I feel like that's a show that you watch, so that's why I put that in
That's
there.
rude.
Is it?
A little bit.
But you're at home during the time that it's on.
Well, yeah, but I'm working. That's how I make money.
But you're on the computer and you're watching The View while you're working.
No, I've told you this before. I have a rule: no TV until 6 p.m. because I'm not going to become one of those people.
Who's your favorite cast member of The View?
I don't watch The View. I don't even know who's on there.
Okay.
Is it Whoopi?
We'll go with Whoopi. Yeah.
Okay, Whoopi is my favorite.
Mine's Joyce Behar.
It's Joy Behar.
Mine's Joy Behar. I love Joy Behar.
This is a real band.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. This is the last one.
Thank fucking God.
And I'm not, my girlfriend, Jess, who's the producer of this show,
Hi, Jess.
wanted to give you one that the band was called Hunt, Gather, and Rape. And I just thought that was horrible.
That's not true.
It's a terrible band name.
You wrote that.
No,
and you
she
were
wrote
proud
it.
Of
I
yourself.
promise she wrote it. So I wrote one
She
in.
wrote it.
I wrote one in rebuttal just because I felt that was too gross.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't want you to have to read that. So here's what it is.
Clown collage. It's fake because you just said I wrote one in rebuttal, which means it's not a real band.
Damn it.
Not only am I bad at this game, you're bad at presenting this game.
Okay, thank you so much, Yasi, for
Oh,
coming.
yeah, thanks
It's been
for
a real
having me.
pleasure. Have fun at your DJ gig.
Thanks, Jed.
All right, everybody out there, thanks again for listening. This has been Jedbanger's Ball. I want to thank Yasi Salek again. Go check out her zine, cultistzine.com. She's going to be out in South by Southwest, of course, again this year, as the rest of us are. Sweaty, dragging, heaving masses. East Austin, Red River, 6th Street. It's just one big blob of humanity just sweating and rolling down the street. Oh, boy. Here we go again. As always, we're brought to you by This Is Not a Pipe, recorded here in beautiful Los Angeles, California at the Green Street Studios. This is Jedbanger's Ball. Thanks for listening.